the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Part of the class, Rome, Georgia. He might be on offensive line, might be defensive line. We'll see what he does once he gets to campus in a full off-season, this, that, and the other. But, I mean, if Tennessee lands Heard and he's your left tackle going into next year, you move John Campbell to right, are you comfortable with where Tennessee is going to be with the offensive line going into 2024 if they end it just with Heard?
It's a scale thing, but yes. Like I think Tennessee would have upgraded their offensive line over last year, in my opinion. If you land Heard, now is that good enough to win the SEC? No, I don't think so. Unless Nico's just unbelievable and can do a lot of the same things Hendon Hooker did, expanding plays and making stuff off script, which we've seen some of. But when you're talking about what Tennessee was going to be able to fix it in this offseason, I don't think they could have done too much better. Sure, you'd probably like to add another body at guard. I'm forgetting the guy's name, but the kid from Armage, Reed Adams, I think was his name, the kid from Kansas who went to A&M. I think you would have liked from the fact that he's a solid guard and can also play tackle if called upon. But as a whole, I mean, bringing the guys they brought back and really trading Mincy for Heard, if obviously they got to land Heard, they got to make that official. To me, that would be a no doubt upgrade. And of what you were going to do in one offseason to make your offensive line better next year, I don't think they could have done a ton. Now, is that where it needs to be long term? No, but from what they could have done this offseason, I think that's about as good as you could have hoped for.
And we'll see on Sprague's. He hasn't officially announced as of this recording, but it seems like by all indication he's back. And guard's just not as big of a concern here. Like Tennessee has shown they can put, a lot of different dudes. Jackson Lampley played great down the stretch for Tennessee. So, even if Sprague's
played great in the bowl game.
Yeah, but hey, maybe that's him turning the corner. Maybe Lampley is solid.
Certainly. And Iowa's better. Iowa's defensive line is certainly a lot better than Vanderbilt, who he struggled against. So it wasn't like he did it against nobody. So I think Sprague's you're probably just going to see. You're not going to get an announcement. He'll just be there on January 22nd when classes finally start. It's absolutely ridiculous that his classes still are a week away from starting for Tennessee. But yeah, and I say all that assuming Sprague comes back. And you probably wouldn't like to roll with Lampley and Andrej Karic as your two best options at guard going into next year. But
I think that's fine.
I believe, as I believe we said on last week's pod, Tennessee got by with Ollie Lane being their starting left guard for a full year. So, and it wasn't catastrophic. You can get by with that.
No, he was great.
Yeah. No penalties.
Look, outside of the Florida game, Ollie was rock solid. And when he was enforced, and also that dude deserves just an A for having to do a lot of stuff that I'm certain he was not expecting to do.
Yes. And that's a good point. When he was playing left guard,
like that guy
he is a team guy. When he was playing with the spot that he was prepared to play and worked at, he was very serviceable.
Yes.
It was really only at center when, again, was not his fault that Tennessee in year 3 of Josh Heupel hadn't developed a backup center. That wasn't Ollie Lane's fault. That's really only when things went real sideways for him.
Yeah. But, I think 2025 is the year that I've circled because you're going to have a situation where either Sham or Bennett Warren has to be one of the tackles. Like, that's a lot of pressure is on Ellerby to develop one of those two. Because Campbell's gone. There's no other John, and you're not just going to get another Heard in the portal. Like, that's just, you don't get 5-star offensive tackles just every year. That's not sustainable, and that's probably not likely. So you go into the expectation that Heard's at the left side, and then you go into the expectation that one of Bennett and Sham went at the right side. And then you go to the guard spots. Look, Bison Lang should be the starting center, barring he doesn't enter the portal. Year 3, it's a lot of time in the system. We're about to see what he develops and what 3 years behind Cooper has meant for him. That will be interesting. And then you look at the guards. Andrej Karic is gone. Jackson Lampley will be gone. William Satterwhite might need to be him. Another guy you recruited, Max Anderson, is going to be in that conversation. Sprague's is gone. You look at it. 2025 is the ultimate indictment year in Glenn Ellerby and the staff. And I think this year, like you said, I think they're going to have a better offensive line in 2024 than they did in 2023. Granted, they get Heard, because if not, you're still looking at, great swing guy you want in your depth room, but Dane Davis cannot be your starting right tackle for a team that's expecting to make the college football playoff in 2024. But I think that is just, I'm so fascinated to see what that looks like in 2025. We got a long way to go, but I think Tennessee fans worry about the offensive line in 2024 for Nico because he got hit a lot, 6 sacks, whatever, in the Citrus Bowl. I just think if Heard's in the boat, you have Campbell, who was solid all year long, bringing back Cooper and company. I think they're going to be more than fine week in, week out.
No doubt, and it's tackle. Like, that's the spot that you circle. And obviously Heard, that's what was so exciting about Heard if Tennessee can land him, is that you have him for at least 2 years. But again, and obviously center, I would say too, there does seem to be some optimism around Vyson Lang that he is developing into a legitimate backup for Cooper and a guy that can replace him. But it's just what we always talk about. At guard, it feels like you can get by and you can grab somebody in the portal. It's just, I mean, we've seen it this offseason of Tennessee having to explore the portal options. And obviously they haven't landed any of these guys, but there's a lot of serviceable guards out there. There's not a ton of serviceable offensive tackles. So to me, that's the big spot is, and you laid it out well with Sham and Bennett Warren. Those are the 2 guys you circle. It feels like you got to have one of those guys developed and ready to start in 25.
Absolutely. Ryan Schumpert, final thing on football if we do our Baseballs player spotlight here. True or false? The Vols run game will be better in 2024 than in 2023, because I've seen a lot of Tennessee fans, and I think if you average, I'm curious if you believe this too. If we polled the average Tennessee Vol fan around Knoxville, like we go in to Litton's tomorrow afternoon, Ryan. Granted, I mean, it's going to be pretty snowy, so I don't think anything's going to be open here in East Tennessee. But if we were, I think if we polled the average Vol fan at Litton's and we asked them this question, I think they would say it should be better. And my gut instinct is no. I actually think the running game will not be better. And I think people are going to be surprised at how underrated Jalen Wright was for Tennessee this past year. And where we both think about Dylan Sampson to this point as a lead back, not a change of pace guy. Not like he had some moments. He had a solid day.
Go. Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.